This is the fanciest pizza challenge I've ever attempted, and it comes with a ton of gourmet toppings. And it's also the most expensive pizza challenge I've ever faced, where if you fail, it's going to cost you 250 Australian dollars. But thankfully, I won't be alone in this adventure, as I'm teaming up with the big man himself, Randy Santel. And in order to get ready for this monster pizza challenge, we would both have to build up a very big appetite. So we decided to get some activity in, using the public walkways in the Newcastle area of New South Wales.
This is where I was going to cook your kangaroo meat up just on that barbecue there, but I thought if you're going to eat like salty pizza, you don't want a kangaroo for breakfast.
You're learning, Lemon.
I'm learning. You don't want a kangaroo inside you.
And of course, these adventures of exploration while we were in the area were made possible by the one and only Lemon Blossom. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I think he has such a great sense of humor, especially with all the little jokes and witty remarks he makes. It's pretty tough not to be laughing and smiling when he's around. So we started making our way on this walkway, and my ears were actually greeted by a very unique bird call.
Hope those dying crows, man, they just sound awful. Whatever they are, maybe I can get a picture of one quick.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that was the name I gave them, or if that was something I heard Lemon say before. The walk itself was pretty enjoyable, the scenery was pleasant, and it seemed to change just enough, to where it always felt like there was something new to look at and keep your attention. Speaking of keeping your attention...
Got him!
Yep. Moving on. Now, like I said, I was enjoying my time during this walk, but I do have to confess something. Getting to the halfway point was fine. But then realizing I had to walk all the way back? Yeah, not so much. Walking back was a bit more of a challenge than I care to admit.
Oh man, we made it. Made it back. That was a long walk.
And now, it was time for the main event, the 2-meter team pizza challenge. So I grabbed my appropriate food fighting gear for the battle at hand, and we were off, making our way to the restaurant. And shortly after arriving, I started to witness the construction of this bad boy. It was incredible, seeing such an assembly of gourmet ingredients and toppings, and once the pizza was finished and brought out, it was time for the battle to begin. And while Randy was doing his thing for his video, I was making sure my food challenge playlist was ready, so I could jam out while I cram in this pizza.
1, 2, 3, boom.
And the battle is on! Now, just to give you the official rundown here, this is Criniti's 2-meter pizza team challenge, and there are actually multiple locations all around Australia. And we're at the Westfield Kotara location, which is part of a shopping center in the area. And as I mentioned, this is a challenge for teams of 2, which is great because sharing is caring. And as for the pizza itself, it actually comes out in 2 1-meter pizzas, with each pizza having 3 different topping combinations. And to keep things simple, Randy and I both went with the same toppings, which included a BBQ chicken that uses barbecue sauce as the base. Then of course you've also got some chicken, as well as some mushrooms and red onion. Then for the second option, we essentially chose the vegetarian option, which includes mushrooms, eggplant, artichokes, semi-dried tomatoes, roasted red peppers, olives, and onion. And for our final choice, we went with one that was sort of a margarita-style pizza, which included prosciutto, cherry tomatoes, buffalo ricotta cheese, parmesan, oregano, and rocket.
What did you just say?
Fun little fact, rocket is basically the Italian term for arugula. And with this 2-meter pizza challenge, you have 1 hour to finish it, which I was really hoping that would be enough time here, because if we failed, we'd have to fork over 250 Australian dollars.
Oh my lord!
But if we could take this thing down, we would get the meal for free and free pizza for a year. Another little fun fact here, you can only use water during the challenge. That's right, this time around, there wouldn't be any diet soda to fall back on and act as my saving grace. So, heading into this battle, we both knew this wasn't gonna be an easy challenge whatsoever. 2 meters of pizza is no joke, and not having access to diet soda, that was certainly gonna handicap us in terms of our overall eating abilities. And something else to keep in mind is that this is wood-fire pizza, and it had a crust that was gonna be on the chewier side of things, which I figured that would probably be the biggest obstacle here to overcome. Don't get me wrong, It's great if you're having it as a normal meal, and especially if the portions aren't being served in meters. But the one big advantage you do have here is that it's a team challenge, which means you have someone in the trenches right next to you, going through the same thing as you are. And in this case, neither one of us wanted to let the other down, which helped us both keep pushing forward. Though, thinking about that $250 price tag also helps.
"12 minutes in, Mitch is over here dominating a lot of his half. I am more than halfway done with mine, but we are really working it. Like I said, we're 12 minutes and 15 seconds in now, still have plenty of time, over 45 minutes. So let's get eating, get this challenge done."
During this challenge, the one thing here I had no doubts about, besides just how good I look in that turtle armor, is the overall quality of the pizza itself. And to break it down real simple here, as much as I love pizza, I've rarely ever had this type or style of gourmet pizza that comes with all these different fancy schmancy toppings, but all of it was so good. All of the flavors, the textures, and even the smells, they all work so well together, and that goes for all three of the different pizza options we went with. And for what it's worth, having the pizza challenge on those massive wooden planks, I thought was kinda cool. It was a nice, subtle touch, and I thought it just added a little bit more magic to the overall experience.
I think Magic Mitch is actually beating me. I gotta speed up.
And with that being said, if you're enjoying your time watching this video, then be sure to take a few moments to leave a little magic of your own by liking the video, and also comment down below, of these three options, which one of these three options would you want to try the most? I don't think you could go wrong with any of the options that are offered here, but as far as my favorite of the three go, it's a tough choice, but I think I would have to give it to that margarita stylish one, which I enjoyed the heck out of it, at least when it came to the first half of it. After which, the ricotta cheese on it was really starting to give me flavor fatigue, and even though this time around, I didn't have access to the diet soda as a palate cleanser, it was just fine because there were so many great flavor combinations with this pizza challenge. So flavor fatigue wasn't really that big of an issue here, because I could just go back and forth, switching up the flavors between the different pizzas if needed. However, as I predicted before it started, flavor was not the real issue here, but in fact, having to get through all that chewier dough and crust, that was the true adversary to overcome. And in most cases, the crust is something I would normally save to the end, but once I really started to get an idea here of just how much chewing would be involved, yeah, that really didn't seem like a great idea. And that would probably be brutal on my jaw. But because I noticed I was having some success earlier in the challenge, just sandwiching those pizza slices like an absolute boss, I figured I could use some of those outer pieces with a lot of crust and just try to fold it up with some of the other toppings and then go to town and send it down. You don't see this often, but here we did a bit of a pizza tradesies where I traded some of my BBQ chicken for some of Randy's margarita pizza. And you know what the best part about this was? He had already taken down the ricotta cheese from each one. I guess I wasn't the only one getting a little flavor fatigue from it. Then after said pizza exchange was complete, it was back to work. So while the big man and I continue to attack this 2-meter pizza challenge, I did want to take a few moments to give a special thanks to the 2 individuals who were helping film this challenge, because you might have noticed, we aren't filming directly in front of the camera. And that's because for this challenge, there's this little cheeky rule where you have to attempt it on that countertop we're on. And I'm sure that's just because that's where there's space and to make sure there's no funny business going on, but it was going to make things harder for us to film. We were fortunate enough to get some volunteers to help film our challenge. Matter of fact, the one manning my camera was actually one of the ladies we met from the female rugby team from the day before. And because she wasn't a part of that initial, very rambunctious group, I had a gut feeling that I could put my faith in her to film, which is not something I can say about everyone in that situation.
Mitch is finishing his last few bites. There we go.
And that's what I like to see. The dynamic duo getting back to their winning ways. Time to celebrate and bust out those post-challenge victory push-ups. Now once this challenge was finished, we needed to get out of there ASAP. Not because anyone was feeling bad or anything like that, but because those sexy looking pastries, man, they were just still calling my name. And I needed to get out of there before the fat kid inside me takes control and I cave into temptation. Now to watch the next food adventure, tap on the video on the screen or click in the link in the description down below and I'll see you there.